Hello, good evening, everyone. You are welcome to tonight's class on reading. We will be doing academic reading tonight, and for the first time, I'm teaching solely on the YouTube. We will not be doing Zoom and YouTube, just a test run to see what works better for all of you because a lot of people are not able to connect with us on Zoom because probably they may be at work or busy when we have the Zoom classes. So we decided to try out new things to see which one work better for your good. Okay. So we will start all of the classes, you get to see all of them again, and then it can be there for you to have access to like the other ones, just to give you variety. And in some of my classes I may have taught it before, and but when I'm teaching that particular thing again, there may be some more details. I mean, it's a common thing with every teacher because you try to see if there are new things added and all of that. So even if you've watched my previous videos, I'll still encourage you to connect and watch this one. If you can't watch it as it's ongoing, you can watch it later on because there may be some new things I also study, so that I can give you the right information for you to excel. If you are watching me, I say thank you very much for connecting, and I hope you have a good time learning something new tonight. Tonight, we will be talking about reading, academic reading. And just to let you know that you can use the interactive box, you can use the comment box. If you type in anything, I will definitely see them as the class is ongoing, and I can answer your questions when it's time for all of that. We may not be spending 2 hours at a stretch, because since there's no interruption of the class and things like that, we may have to just go straight to the point and all. Then at the end, create some time for some interactions between me and you, and that will happen in the comment box. Okay. Academic reading task. We know that the IELTS, academic IELTS, which is what you're expected to write if you are coming into the UK and some other countries, either to study or to practice as a health professional. I know that many of my candidates are nurses. Many of them are nurses. Our time is 8 p.m. We start at 8 p.m. and then before 10, I'll round up with the class on Thursdays. For now, we do the classes once in a week. Okay, Maureen, I hope that answers your question. So the IELTS academic is what you are expected to write. Okay. If you are coming as a health professional. I know that many of us who are watching this or who will have access to this later are nurses, especially. All right. So you are expected as a nurse to have not less than a band 7.0 as your overall band. For reading is 7.0, writing 7.0, speaking writing 6.5 is allowed. Okay, then speaking 7.0 and listening 7.0. The overall band that is expected, the list is 7.0. So those are the scores for the individual components of it. So reading is part of the components of the IELTS academic that you are expected to have a band 7.0 in if you are looking at coming into practice in the United Kingdom. For many people who may watch this as well, maybe yours is admission. It depends. The schools that you're going to, you're seeking admission to, will tell you the band that they want you to have. It may be a little less and it may be more. I don't know, but your requirement will depend on what the school wants. This class tonight is about IELTS academic. Okay, the academic reading test is made up of 40 questions generally, and you are expected to finish the test in 60 minutes, which is 1 hour. Here in this reading, there's no time for you to transfer your answer, so it is advisable for you to write in your answer sheet as you go along. Usually they are between 2000 to 2750, 2800 words, and that's the passages that you will read, and they are taken from different topic areas of general interest to people. It could be in politics, it could be from sports, it could be about nature, maybe them talking about forest or about rocks or stones or currencies or the Third World War, things that are generally of interest to every individual. It's not about nursing, it's not about midwifery, it's not about medicine. All right, it's from different topics. That's where you will find the questions come from, and there are various question types that you will find. They are usually in different sections. Okay, different sections with different number of questions and different question types. So tonight, I will be taking us on the different types of questions that we have in the reading test. And first on our list is the multiple choice, otherwise known as the MCQ. For both IELTS academic and general, the reading papers, you are likely to be asked multiple choice questions. And for multiple choice questions, there are three different types of multiple choice questions. One of them is the one that you will find questions where there are four options and they are expecting you to choose one from those four. Another one is to have five options and you may be asked to choose two options from those five. And sometimes you can have six options and they expect you to choose either three or two, okay, from those questions and those options. Whatever they want you to do, you need to read the instruction very well. Failure to read the instruction has helped some people to fail. Yes, I say helped because usually when you are in an exam situation, the chances of failing and being successful is 50% each. Okay, you have a 50% chance of succeeding and you have a 50% chance of failing. So if you make mistakes with the instructions, you have helped yourself to slide to the side of failure and you might not get the band score that you desire. Generally, in the multiple choice questions, there are tips, there are mistakes also that people make. So we'll be discussing what these mistakes that people make are, how do you avoid them, all right? How do you avoid these mistakes? And then what is expected of you? What are you expected to do so that you can succeed, you can pass this question type when you see them? Number one is reading the text before the question, common problems or common mistakes that people make. Please avoid reading the text before the questions. If you do this, you are reading blindly, okay, because you are not sure what you are looking for. You also waste your time, and because you have to read the question again, at the end you might not finish your work. So you have just wasted your time the first time when you read that passage. Don't read the passage, the text, passage and text, they are the same thing. Don't read the passage before you read the questions. It's a trick. So when you read the questions before you read the passage, you are reading with focus. Okay, you are reading, you are looking for something. It's just like you have an address in your hand, a place you have never been before. They have told you number 14, okay, Adewale Street. And you come to Adewale Street, and instead of looking for number 14, Adewale Street, you are just looking everywhere. You say, okay, that house is beautiful. Okay, that one. Some of these things are not even necessary. When you come in into Adewale Street, all you need to do is to be on the lookout for that number 14. And this is because you already have a clue to where you're going, which is number 14, and you know it. But when you keep that aside and you say, let me look for, okay, I'm in Adewale Street now, and you first of all look at all the houses before you come to look at number 14 or look for number 14. At that point, you may have even forgotten where you saw number 14 at all. So it is better for you to read with focus, and this will only happen if you read the questions before you go to read the passage. Another thing is people not answering questions. Say, I don't know the answer. Let me just leave it. Or stories that you have heard. Some people say that IELTS is very difficult. Actually, IELTS is not as difficult as we believe that it is. I happened to write UKVI, and when I registered for UKVI, a lot of people said that UKVI was more difficult than the normal academic IELTS. But the thing that was happening in my time was you will write UKVI and you're expected to have a band 4, and then you will write the academic IELTS. So many people, instead of writing UKVI, went for the academic, made their required band, then went for UKVI for them to use for their immigration. When I heard that I could either write a UKVI and make a band 7, which will be okay for both my NMC UK registration and the visa application, or I write UKVI, get a band, score a band 4, and then go to write the academic. I looked at it and I went for the option of UKVI. Two of my friends specifically, when they found out that I was writing UKVI, one of them called me and was like, Joy, you've never written, you've never written this exam before. Why are you going for UKVI first? Anyways, you will still write it, because if you do your academic and you pass, you are still going to do UKVI. So I said, well, I'm writing UKVI and I'm writing it once because I believe and I'm studying that I am going to make a band 7.0 at least, for me to kill two birds with one stone. That's what I did. And exactly that is what I got. I went ahead and did the UKVI, and I was able to use it for my visa application and for the NMC registration because I made my band. Now, UKVI was termed very difficult. Some people will even tell you OET is easier. It depends. OET might be easier for some and it might be more difficult for some. So you need to know what works for you, okay? So that you will do what works for you and just do it once. There's no need to waste money registering for this exam several times, wasting your time and energy and your mental health as well, because there's a way you feel like a failure or you are not able to make it. There's something that want to make you give up when you fail an exam. So it's not a good feeling at all, and I don't even pray for anyone to go through that. All right. So IELTS is not as difficult, as I was saying, as people see. The different stories that we have heard about IELTS is actually what makes it difficult. Some people will tell you, wow, I'm writing this exam for the 5th time, for the 4th time. When I wrote my exam, I was writing with a doctor who was practicing at the time, and he was writing for the 6th time. Not because he's not brilliant, but you need to know some tips. And at the end of the day, he had to study and get the tips before he was able to make his band score. So these are the tips that you are getting free of charge from this place. All right. Not answering a question at all, because they've told you that IELTS is doing negative marking. That's not true. They don't do negative marking. All right. You get your score for the ones that you got correct. That's where you will get they will score you. Nobody is going to reduce or to subtract your marks for failing any of the numbers or failing any of the questions. This seems like it's very, very obvious. Many people just look at it and they just say, okay, I don't know it. No. You know that there are some questions, when you see a multiple choice question, one thing that comes to mind is you will automatically be able to rule out 2 or 3 of those options, at least 2 of the options. So you'll be left with 2 options, especially those that have 4 options. You'll be left with 2 options, and in that 2 options that you are left with, you have a 50% chance of getting the answer correctly. So when you are confused, you don't know what to do, and you have finished the other ones, okay, usually I'll tell you that when you are still going and there's still time, leave it, keep going, answer the order. Sometimes the answer will come on its own. At other times, you will need to do a guesswork. So when you are left with 2 options, please do a guesswork and have an answer. Do not leave any question unanswered. All right? Now, many people, another problem is the fact that we allow ourselves to be tricked by the examiner. The examiners will love to try you. They will love to trick you with what we call distractors. Distractors are things that look like the correct answer but are actually incorrect. And so when you locate the correct section in the reading text, okay, there will appear to be 2 or more like plausible correct answers. So what these examiners do is they pick a word okay, from the passage, and maybe put in that wrong option. But either before it or after it, there is a clause, there is like an adjective, there's a word that has made that answer incorrect. But because you are looking for the words, the things that the keywords that are in the passage, you will just see say, oh, okay, this one is the correct answer. Meanwhile, it is incorrect. They use those things to distract you. They just want to be sure that you are paying attention to what you're doing and you're following instructions. Because IELTS is generally about synonyms. I keep telling us, in your writing is about synonyms, in your reading is more or less like synonyms and paraphrases with some of these questions that you will get. And in your speaking as well, for you to express yourself well, you need to have the use of these vocabularies so that you can express yourself, you can say things, you can explain things, and your examiner will understand that you know where you are going or where you're coming from. So do not allow yourself to be tricked by the examiners. Another thing is not reading the whole sentence. You know, some people will tell you, they will advise you that you should read the first part of the sentence and the last part of the sentence. Sometimes the main point is in the middle. So you need to have the skill of skimming and scanning. Quickly scan and you have read through it, so that you have captured the information. You are not half-baked in that information. You don't have the correct information at the beginning and at the end. Meanwhile, in the middle of it, where you do not know what exactly is there, is where the answer is. So you need to read the whole sentence, okay? Read the whole sentence and understand it better. Then you can pick your answer. Another thing is, if you don't read the text carefully, as much as we are trying, in as much as we are trying to tell you that you need time, you need to work with time. You need to train yourself to be fast. There's no point for you to be fast and fail at the end of the day. So you should be in between. Be fast, okay, with your reading, with your writing, with everything, but be also very careful. Read the text more carefully, because some questions, their answers will jump at you. Don't go for those answers. Be on the lookout for synonyms even more. For instance, when you have a sentence and you find words like beautiful, you should be on the lookout for words like stunning, okay? Words like pretty. Those are the things that you should be looking out for. So generally, for the IELTS reading, your multiple choice question, I tell you that you should read the questions before you read the text. Okay? Read the questions before you read the text, because when you do that, you will often be able to locate your answers better as you will be reading with focus. When you have a look at your options, you will be able to eliminate 2 or 3 that are incorrect immediately. And by the time you are done with that, the remaining options that may seem to confuse you, bring them side by side with the question and see. Don't just say, why is this one correct? Check again, why is the other option incorrect, so that you are sure that you're taking the right answer. Refuse to be tricked by the examiners. Read your questions very carefully. Ensure that you do not jump any question. Okay? Ensure you do not jump any question. Skim the text to get the general meaning of everything. You need to underline your keywords. Underline your keywords so that when you see them, you will know what word to use in their place, or what word to expect, like paraphrases, like synonyms. All right? Then you should predict the answer for yourself initially, even before you see them. You know, when you see a question and you have an answer in your mind, it may not be completely correct, but when you see something that is close to that your answer, you will easily be able to pick it up. That way, you are helping yourself. Read the part that you find your answer very carefully and compare, thinking about the differences in the meanings for all of them, for all the options, the different ways, these options that are here. What is the difference between option A and B and C and D? And why is option C the correct one? Why is option B and D and A not the correct option? What makes it different? Then read the question again and you'll be able to pick your answer, and that is about multiple choice questions. That is about multiple choice questions. Christy, you're welcome to the class. Uche, I can see you guys watching. If you've got any questions about what we are doing about the multiple choice question, just type it in the comment box and I'll get to see it and I'll answer it. Other than that, those are the strategy that you need to put in place and you need to adhere to when you find multiple choice questions. Okay, multiple choice questions, there are three types of them that you will find, where you have four options to choose one, or five options to choose two, or six options to choose two or three. It depends on what the examiners want you to do. But whatever type of multiple choice questions you find, the strategy is the same for all of them. Very importantly, read the instruction before you go ahead to start answering your questions. Read the instructions very, very carefully. That's where you'll be able to identify what kind of answers is expected of you, whether it is two or one or three. All right. Okay, so we move to the next type of question. The next question type is called the matching headings. The matching heading. In our IELTS exam, you will be asked questions that are termed matching heading. These kind of questions are testing your ability to understand the main idea of each paragraph. You know those questions where there's a paragraph and they will tell you to give it a heading, okay? And these headings are short sentences that summarize the information in the paragraph, where you have to pick one from them. So when you have more headings than your paragraph, don't panic. Just make sure that you choose the correct one. Sometimes we have two headings that look as if they are the same. Be very careful, because a word, a noun, a verb, or an adjective is in one of them that has made it to be incorrect. Usually you will have between 5 to 7 from the IELTS past questions that we have seen and are going through. You have between 5 and 7 headings and you are asked to match them. Okay, match them with the paragraph in the reading text. So you match one heading to one paragraph each, and at the end you have more headings than your paragraphs. That's absolutely right, and there's no problem with that. In matching heading, there are certain things that we should avoid. Okay, we know that there's too much information. When you have matching heading, and if you've been practicing, you will find out that there's usually too much information with matching heading for you to go through within a short period of time. So please don't try to match word for word in the reading text. When you match word for word in the reading text, you will get it all wrong. Okay, don't read the first part of the paragraph and then the last part of the paragraph, or read the first part and then one other line in the middle or something and you conclude. No, because the first part of the paragraph might be a different topic entirely from what the heading will be, from what the inside, the main body of the paragraph will be talking about. And if you are the type that read first part of the paragraph and say, oh, okay, this is what it's talking about, and you go and look for a heading and you give it, you will get it wrong. Don't spend too much time as well in one paragraph, and that's why you need some skills like skimming, like scanning. How to scan through for information, how to skim through for understanding. You need those skills. So reading is not something that you will do in one night. It is something that you need to train yourself to do. The more you get these tips, you need to apply the tips, okay, to your readings so that you can get used to how they are done. Don't spend too much time on reading one particular paragraph. All right. And then one good thing in the reading text matching heading is the fact that the text, or one bad thing though, is the fact that they are not in the same order like the multiple choice question. I don't know if I mentioned that when I was explaining multiple choice question. For instance, when you have multiple choice question, let me go back to multiple choice question a bit for this last explanation. When you have multiple choice question and you have number 2 If you find the answer to number 2 in paragraph 4, don't go back to paragraph 3 or above where you found the answer of the previous one again. Keep going. Okay, that one for it. For multiple choice is forward ever, backward never. When you find the answer to number 4 in paragraph 2 line 2, don't go back to paragraph 2 line 1 to look for the answer to the next number again. All right, so that one flows. The answer, the question, they both flow together in the arrangement. But for your matching headings, and back to matching headings now, the answers are not in the same order, so you need to go back and forth. All right, you need to go back and forth. But for you to have a better understanding of this, when you see this kind of question, do it first. For instance, you get your question paper. I hope you know that nobody is stopping you. You can decide to start from number 40. Nobody is stopping you as long as you finish all of your questions. Answer all the questions. All right, that's what they want you to do, and get them correctly. Get your band. They will not deny you a band 9 if you score everything correct, and which should be desirable really by everyone. So when you see matching heading, do it first. By doing this first, you'll be able to get the general meaning of the text as a whole, and it will help you with the other part of the questions that will come with that particular passage, because you already have a general meaning of the text, of that text that you're using for your matching heading. Other questions that will require you to take more detailed look at this passage, the same passage, it will no longer be difficult for you, because there you are just looking for specific information. You already know what this whole place is all about, what this whole thing is all about. So if they ask you more detailed questions, you are just going to look for the answers, and you'll be able to locate them easily, because you have an idea of what they are, just like what we call residual knowledge. You already see this and you know what it is, so locating it is easier for you than when you are starting it all over. So do it first to give you a general idea, general knowledge of the reading passage, and then the other questions that will come with it will be much more easier for you. I want you to know that in matching heading, you are not expected to know the meaning of every word in the text, or to read every word. As in, I just said it will give you a general idea, isn't it? All right, so you don't need to go into details with all of the words, because it's going to take too long, and then you will lose time. And there's something about losing time in exam. When you are on number 10 and you check the time and it's already 30 minutes gone, you tend to like become anxious, and some people will have panic attack, and at the end of the day, even when they know the answers, they are shaky, they are no longer concentrating. And because IELTS is a bit of not scary, I don't want to use that word scary, is an exam that moves someone. It moves you, it puts you off balance a little bit in a way. No matter how confident you are, when you get into that exam hall, there's a feeling about that exam. Just like nursing council exam, where you're standing with your examiner, and you know, as student nurses and all of that, for those of us who are nurses though, you are like, it may even be an examiner you used to relate with before, a teacher you used to relate with, but because it's in an exam situation, you are already off balance, okay? And you tend to make more mistakes when you are not composed, when you are not settled. You know, you tend to make more mistakes. So that's the way the IELTS exam is. You just need to have a general knowledge of what it is. Now, for your reading test, if you see any questions, okay, where you don't any word really that you don't know the meaning, forget about that word. Nobody is going to ask you the meaning of that word. For instance, you see, I know we all know it, or many of us know the word flabbergasted we use for surprise, for example, and you saw that word flabbergasted. Maybe that's the first time that you are seeing that word, and you're like, flabbergasted, what is your business with that word flabbergasted? Forget about the flabbergasted and keep reading. Most of the time, those new words that they keep there, that they bring into your text, the text has nothing, the question has nothing to do with that aspect of the passage of the text at all. The questions will not come out from there. There's nothing. And if it's too strange, there's always a glossary. That's for your reading test. At the end, you always find a glossary, you know, like a dictionary kind of something, where they will write that word and then the meaning in the context which they are using it. All right, so if there are words you don't understand, don't worry about it, because the test is not about the word, it's about your reading knowledge. That's what they are looking at. I want you to know and be aware about of synonyms. A lot of people look for words that will match the exact same word that are in the text. Please don't make that mistake, because if you find a keyword in the text, look for other words that can fill in. Synonyms are words that are nearest in meaning, right? And we can use them without changing the meaning of the statement. You use them interchangeably without changing the meaning, without altering the meaning. Like I just said now, changing, altering. All right. So if you see the word altering, for instance, you should be looking for words like change, like modify. All right. That's what you should be looking for. The same thing happens in our writing, isn't it? Where we say that you should, as much as possible, be on the lookout for synonyms. When you are paraphrasing, you are using synonyms. So in your reading as well, you are doing the same thing. IELTS is generally related, both reading, writing, and speaking with listening. They are all related, and they are majorly, I don't know why, but Cambridge is like the whole of the IELTS academic test is all related in a way that if you are looking at it, I'm like, okay, maybe it's because they expect you to react to different situations in a different way, but at the end of the day, it's all solution bound. That's what they are teaching us beginning from the time you're writing your English exam. All right. So if you still cannot find your answer, leave it, go ahead, do the other questions first, then come back to it. Ignore anything you already know about a topic. Very, very important. Ignore everything you already know. And this is also going to apply to your true, false, not given, and yes, no, not given. Okay, ignore anything you already know. It's none of your business. Concentrate only on that reading passage, whatever is there on the reading passage. Please do not read too quickly. In as much as, like I said, we expect you to finish on time, to read fast, to understand fast, please don't read too quickly, because when you read too quickly, you miss out some vital information that may be useful for your success. And if you panic in the exam, you'll be in trouble. So don't panic if you don't know anything about the general topic of the test. Okay, the text is generally about your reading knowledge, not about your knowledge of that particular topic. For example, in the course of my practice, there was a question I came across, or a passage I came across, and it was discussing rock. Like, I did this thing in secondary school last, and I can't even remember. As at the point I was writing my exam, I think it was over 20 years, or it was around 20 years that I left 15, 20 years that I left secondary school. And I was thinking, I said, how can I be doing rock geography in IELTS? 7 questions. I didn't score any correct one among them. So if you think that they are testing you particularly, it's not you in particular. It's not about what you know about that thing. It's your ability to read and understand. All right, that's what the test is testing you about. So what have I been saying about your reading test, about matching heading? When you see matching heading questions, do it first. Do them first. When you are doing your matching heading, just like your multiple choice, the first one that we did, don't look at the headings first. In multiple choice, I said what? That you should read the questions first. But in matching heading, don't look at the headings first. Read the passage, get an understanding of what the passage is, and in your head, give it a topic so that you can predict the answer. As soon as you now see it, you will find out that you are picking the correct answer, because of what? You already have an idea of what the answer should look like. Okay? Now, read the first part, second, the first 2 sentences. If at all you have to skip, make sure that you read carefully the first 2 sentences and the last 2 sentences. The inside, you can skim it. You can just scan through. But ensure that you understand what the passage, what the paragraph is talking about, so that you can give it a topic. Matching heading is more like you giving it a topic. Okay, so you can give it a topic if you understand what it is about. When you look at the heading, please try to identify the keywords within each of the headings. It's the keywords that you should identify, and then look for their synonyms. Don't look for the same word. When you find the same word may not be the correct answer, so you need to look for other words. Now, there are some of these headings that may be very obvious. After you have read it, bam, you just see the answer pointing at you. For matching heading, it happens like that. But for some other specific types, which I will explain as we go on, don't even jump at it because you will feel it. But for matching heading, some of the answers tend to jump at you. And when you look at it, because you have read it and you understand what the passage is talking about, you can actually see that it is correct. So quickly do those ones first. Save the time. You know, in IELTS reading, for each question, you have a maximum of 1 minute 30 seconds to answer each question. So imagine that you have used 30 seconds to answer 4 or 5 questions. You have saved a few minutes. So that will help you to come back to the ones you don't know that you have left, or to spend more time on the ones you don't know that you are coming back to later on. If you still cannot pick your answer after you have checked, please leave it and move on. And when you move on, just tie it up. Make sure that you flag it, red flag it, so that you know that you have not done it and you can come back to it. That is the strategy that you will use for your matching heading. Then keep going and going over and over, and then you finish your exam. All right, so just the same way we have matching heading, we also have what we call matching information. You know, if you've been practicing, you will find out that in some of the IELTS reading question types, you will see that they will write a passage, okay, a paragraph, sorry, and then they will say, who said this? Or somebody made a suggestion, maybe a hypothesis about something, or a theory, or somebody's own contribution, okay, to something. And then you have names of those people. You have names of people, you have places where those things were designed or said or done or something. And then they ask you, you are expected to match them with match the passages. For instance, say number 10 is Joy Agagwu that said the statement or something. That one is called matching information. Here is about statements that could be reasons, that could be a description of something, that could be a summary of something, or even a definition. It could be a fact or an explanation of something, or a suggestion or hypothesis by someone. So whatever they are, it does not matter. You are only expected to just have a little knowledge and be able to identify what is here in the passage. For some of these, you are able to see the name and then you just pick it up. Those are the questions that jump at you with their answers. Pick it quickly. You know, for somebody's names, of course, for people's names, you don't have synonyms for people's names. For instance, my name is Joy Agagwu. You cannot come and say my name is excitement or happiness Agagwu. No, my name is Joy. My name is Joy. Names of places, okay, things, animals, they do not have synonyms. So you cannot use other words for them. It is what they are. They are not pronouns, they are nouns. All right. So if it's like we say, you can use he, she in place of male, female. It is not like that in terms of people's names and places and animal. A goat is a goat. You cannot say a goat is a sheep because you want to give it another name, and because a goat and a sheep, they both have 4 legs, and no, they are not in the same family. A goat is a goat. If it's Lagos, it's Lagos. If it's Aba, it's Aba. Okay, so that's just it. So for nouns, for things that do not you cannot paraphrase, there are certain things, certain words, or certain places that you cannot paraphrase. All right, certain places you cannot paraphrase, except when you are writing and then you see maybe the number of people that smoke in the United Kingdom, and then maybe because they've said it's specific, we can now say it's England. But you should also know that United Kingdom is made up of England, Scotland, and Wales. So if you just select England, it means you have not gotten the correct one. So names of places, you know, like that, they are not you cannot use synonyms for them, except maybe you want to say the UK, or for the United States of America, you can say the USA and all that. Those are the only things that you can do when it comes to people's names or names of places and animals and things. So don't be on the lookout for such synonyms. The synonyms that you should look out for are words, they are keywords, all right, that could be like a lead, a guide to your answer. Okay, so I was saying that you are not expected to have any specialist knowledge in that reading text. You are just expected to have a general knowledge of what it is. Also, you don't need to understand everything about the whole paragraph in this kind of question. Remember we did matching heading. That is where you can understand a bit, but here you don't need to understand. Just pick that information from there, pick it out. If it's somebody's name, maybe the person has said that you should people that consume akpu, from his own experiment, people that consume akpu in Anambra State, there are more than people that consume garri in Anambra, and they will now say who made this statement, or a consumption of akpu is higher in Anambra than in Enugu, as said by, you will now somebody's name, maybe I said it now, you now see my name, you see other people's names like that, you can pick that up. Those answers, they jump at you. So you don't need to have specialist knowledge, you just need to know what these answers are, pick them up and go your way. Now, just like your matching heading, there will be more information that you need. There will be more paragraphs than the question. So don't worry if you have not gone through all the paragraphs for the question, because that particular paragraph or the particular section is not just about matching heading or matching information. There are other things that you will do. I said that you should do matching headings first. For matching information, do it last. When you see matching headings, do it first, but when you see matching information, do it last, because matching heading, it gives you a general knowledge. Okay, so matching information, by the time you are coming to matching information, if you see, it will now be something that you have done over and over and over, so the answers will automatically come in, and it will be good for you to have that kind of question to calm you down from the time that you all the time, all the anxiety and everything. If you now see easier questions, it will help you to calm down. All right, so what are we going to do as our tip that I have been saying since? What will be our strategy? I said you should read the instructions carefully. You need to read the questions first. All right, then you think about synonyms for where it is applicable, and that is when we are not talking about names of people. You should always think about synonyms, and then you should use your head to know, your discretion to know when to use synonyms and when not to use synonyms. You need to quickly skim through the text to try to understand, just have the general knowledge, and then read the questions again, predict your answers in your head first, so that when you see it, it can jump at you and help you to quickly pick these answers. Nobody has really written any serious question. All right, okay, everyone is following. Thank you very much for following. Thank you. So you are welcome to the class, and I can understand that it's clearer. You know, when students are not typing or asking you questions, it's either they understand so well or they don't understand anything at all. I know that it's not like that, because it's not that you don't understand, it's probably because you do understand it better, and that's why you are able to just follow. All right, so we move to the next type of question. We move to the next type of question, and that is labeling of diagrams. Labeling of diagrams. We will see diagrams in our questions. Or all these question types, you may not find, you can't find all of them in one exam, because the exam is not into 8 sections or 9 sections like the types of questions that we have. But that you will find the majority of it, no matter what, you will find at least 4 or 5 in different sessions. So you need to master all the question types, so that whatever one you come across, okay, whichever you come across in your exam, you would have been familiar with it, okay, and you will be able to do it well and pass. When you have labeling of diagrams, there are basically 3 kind of diagrams that you will find. It could be a technical drawing, maybe of a machine or an invention. It could be something from the natural world, or it could be a design or plan. Sometimes it's a plan of a building, it's a plan of a place, or it could be a design of a machine, it could be an invention, it could be maybe they are trying to describe the use of a particular machine or an equipment or something. Now, when you see this kind of questions, what should you do? Follow the instruction. Many people fail exams because they do not, or they did not follow the instruction. You need to check how many words that you are supposed to write first. This will tell you in the question, you will find it in the question. It will tell you how many words that you have to use. Okay, you need to identify whether this word I'm using, is it a noun, is it a pronoun, is it an adjective? Okay, it will help you to find the correct answer on time when you know the particular kind of word that you are looking for. And if your answer is having something after it or before it, and you have to write something, write the answer in between, by the time you have put your answer in between, it must make sense. The labeling of that machine must make sense. You can label your machine in form of a summary completion. They will be describing that machine, maybe the place they labeled number 1 or number 2, number 3, number 4, A, B, C, D, the way they labeled it. They will be discussing it and talking about maybe the first part is the handle, and then the other side is where the load is, and then you need, as you are writing it in between the lines, if it's in a sentence or in a paragraph, it must make sense grammatically. If it doesn't make sense grammatically, then you are wrong. Number 1. Number 2, the number of words that you are expected to write. When an instruction says that you can write in not more than they're asking you to write not more than 2 words and or a number, not more than 2 words and or a number, that's 3 things. That is 2 words and a number, or 1 word or a number, or 2 words and there's no number. It means that you can write 1 word, 2 words, 2 words and a number. You need to be careful and you need to understand this, because if you are expected to write just 2 words and you write 3 words, automatically you have failed that particular question. You are not going to score that particular question. When you see labeling of a diagram, some areas look very easy. Please label those parts first of all, as in answer it in your book quickly, so that you can save that time for the other questions that may be difficult, either in that section or in another session. Now, predict the answer before you read the text. It will help you to find the correct answer. You need to check how many words. You need to study just the diagram a little bit and understand how it generally works. Don't go too deep. Don't spend too much time studying the whole of the diagram and say, you are working it out in your brain. It's a machine. What is my business with a machine? I'm a nurse. But you just need to know that this machine, when they touch this side, the other side moves and is able to produce or do this, or is able to operate and do this, and all of that's what that thing is all about. It's more or less like an explanation of that invention, what it does, or maybe its usefulness or something. That's what they are trying to explain, and then they are testing your knowledge to know which part and which part you concentrate on. So please don't concentrate too much on the diagram, trying to figure out the shape of the diagram. Some of us have photo what now? What kind of brain do they call it? That you want to just capture everything, and you are going to draw it later when you are lying on your bed. Please don't spend your time doing all of that. Just have a general knowledge of it and go your way. Then you need to identify the kind of words, like I said, if it's a noun or if it's an adjective or if it's a verb that you are expected to write or to label, all right, or to name that part of your diagram with. You need to read more detail a little bit later on to understand more if you don't. Not that you spend your time and say, from here to here is like this. Maybe it's a plan, it's a building plan that you are going to label, but you want to see if in your spirit or in your inner mind you can walk through that building with all of that. Please don't do it. All right. And very, very importantly, you check your spellings. Labeling of a diagram is actually my best. Okay, no, it's not my best. It's one of my best in the question types. You need to check your spellings. Okay, please check your spellings. Check your spellings, because if your spellings are not correct, you will not score the correct answer for that particular question. You can't score the correct answer. They won't score the correct mark. Sorry, they won't mark you right. That's that about labeling of a diagram. It's actually very easy. Now we have what we call sentence completion. That's number 5. We have done multiple choice. We have done matching information, we have done matching heading, we have done labeling of a diagram, and now we are doing sentence completion. We have a few more to go. We're doing sentence completion. In sentence completion type of question, you'll be given a number of sentences with gaps in between them, and they will ask you to complete the sentences with words from the reading text. Now, this kind of question is a vocabulary test. It's more of vocabulary test than any other thing, because they require you to be aware of what paraphrases, of synonyms, all right? And so you need to know what kind of words, how many words, what kind of words. Is it a noun? Is it a pronoun? Is it a verb? Is it an adjective? Is it an adverb? What kind of word am I supposed to fill in this place with? And by the time you are done filling it, that is whatever word you have written in the middle of these sentences, by the time you are reading it all through, your sentences must make sense grammatically. It must be grammatically correct. It should not be erratic. Okay? When the instruction says from the text, then you need words from the text. You need to pick particular words from the text when it says from the text. But when it did not say from the text, there's no specific instruction saying from the text, then you can use other words, other synonyms, other paraphrases, all right, to fix in between, and you will find out that it will make sense grammatically. Then you can score your mark. You also need to be very careful on the number of words. Like I said, number of words that they have asked you to use. If they say not more than 2 words from the text for each of these, answer below, this is that. Don't use more than 2 words, but you can use 1 word, and if it's correct, it's correct. All right? So, when you have your sentence completion, what should you do? Check how many words to write. If it says no more than 2 or 3, follow the instruction. Okay? Now, you should also know that numbers are written numerically, like 72. For instance, if you have the number 72, it is not, you are not writing 7, 2. It is 72, so it's 1 word or 1 number. It counts as 1 figure. When you have words like 72 or even 100 or even 90, okay, or 99. But if you go and write 99 as in word, it has become 2 words. 90 and 9. 72. You have written 70 and 2. Those are 2 words. But when you have 72 as per the figure, it is counted as 1. So you need to be careful what you are filling in your places, the spaces with. Number 2, in terms of what you're filling with and how the word count work. When you have hyphenated words, it counted as 1 if the word is hyphenated. For instance, when I say state of the art, and it's hyphenated, state of the art is counted as 1 word. Okay? Up to date and is hyphenated is counted as 1 word. But by the time you write state of the art is 4 words, and it's already more than the number of words that you've been asked to write. So this is more of a vocabulary test. You know, like when we were in secondary school and in our exams in general knowledge, I think, when we have lexis and structures, and they put words in bracket below those sentences, and then the words, some are wrong, some are wrongly spelled, some are just overtly highlighted, like the words they can maybe running instead of ran, to choose. So it's more of vocabulary. That's what you're doing with the sentence completion. That's lexis and structure. That's what it is. All right. So you need to be very careful. But one good thing with the sentence completion is the fact that the answers appear in the same order as the question. So when you find the answer to number 1, the answer to number 2 will be below the answer to number 1. You can't find the answer to number 2 above where you found the answer to number 1. Just like our multiple choice, it is forward ever, backward never. So it makes it a little bit easier, isn't it? Now, I've said it already. Remember, your work should be grammatically correct, okay? And then when scanning for your answer, make sure that you're thinking about some paraphrases as well, where you are not told to use specific words from the sentence, I mean from the paragraph that you have been given. They are not giving words to fill with. So you need to be very, very careful. All right. Read the questions over and over and understand what you are asked before you go ahead to answer. So here you read the questions before you read the text. Read the questions before you read the text. It's good for you to read the incomplete sentence. So that's the question. Before you read the text, so that you know what comes in between. So summarily, our strategy for sentence completion is that you should read the instructions very carefully. You need to know how many words to write, all right? And if they want you to include the same word, the exact same word from the passage or not. You read the incomplete sentences first, so that in your head you're already working out what should be in there to complete the sentence. Think about what word you can use to fill in, all right, to predict your answer. Think about what word can come in first. You need to locate where the information is found by scanning really, really quickly, and then read the incomplete sentence again, put those words inside, in between them, and see if they make sense. If they don't make sense grammatically, then they are not correct. They need to make sense to you. Check for your spellings. Very, very important. Check the spellings, and then you can say you have confidently finished your work. Next to sentence completion is summary completion. In summary completion question types, you will have a summary of information from the text, and there will be gaps in between them as well. Now, you will either be given a list of words. Note one difference between summary completion and sentence completion. You'll be given a list of words for summary completion, and then you are expected, just like in matching heading, for you to select from those number of words, from those selected words that they have given to you. So make your choice from them, fill in the spaces with it, okay? And then your own job is only just to insert those words from the list into the gaps. It makes it a bit easier for you. It's unlike the other type where you need to crack your brain a little bit. What this is doing is that they want to understand, they want you to to understand the general meaning of the summary, and then they want you to scan for the correct information, and then to identify whether there are synonyms or there are paraphrases. Usually, one of the problems, I mean, there are many problems with candidates in this kind of question, but this kind of question does not expect you to have a detailed understanding of a text. But some people will lose time trying to study what the question is about, trying to study the whole passage. If you do that, you will lose time, you will waste your time, and at the end of the day, you won't have enough time to finish. If you don't finish, how are you even sure? You are not sure of the ones you have answered that they are all correct, and now you are not even able to finish. At the end of the day, you leave the exam hall, and for those 2 weeks you are waiting for your exam. If we take your blood pressure, you are waiting for your result. If you do your blood pressure every day, each time you think about your result, your BP will be very, very high, because you are not expecting a good result. So to avoid all of that, you need to save yourself as much time as possible. And the only way you can do this is to practice as much as you can. You need to practice, get all the apps, go download all the books, get all the tips, watch the videos. I mean, get the tips that you need, and then go ahead and apply them as you practice. Get used to the question types, and then you can ask your exam when you write them. So generally, the tips for your summary completion is for you to predict the answer before you even look at the options, and that's the reason why you should also read the incomplete sentences. All right, you should what the gap is to be filled with, whether it is a noun or an adverb, just like the other one, so that you can correctly select that you have. Be on the lookout for synonyms and for paraphrases, because they may not match exactly. So if you are looking for the exact same word, you might not find them. And if you don't find them, that can put you off balance. And at the end of the day, if you are off balance, you might not concentrate for you to even answer the ones that you know. Okay. Also, in this kind of question, the answers will come in the same order as well. So it makes it easy. Like sentence completion, summary completion come in the same order. Okay, the questions are in the same order. So when you see the answer here, move to the next one and then you can pick them all up and you will if you get a list of words, it's not compulsory for you to use the whole of those words. So when you have not finished using those words, don't panic and say, these words are still here, I have not used them. No, it's not your fault too. You're not expected to use all of those words. All right. Other than that, you will be fine. So for summary completion, read the questions very, very carefully. Note how many words you can write. Note um, um, what kind of word so that you can select the correct ones. Okay, some words are three, some are four, some are different. That's when you are given a set of words to use. And some you're not given a set of words to use, but it's expected that you go through the summary and you fill them in. Check to see if your answer makes sense grammatically, and be very careful with your spellings in the other one where you are not given words to use. Even some people, the word they gave them to use is there. They are spelling it for themselves, yet they are getting the spelling wrongly because of exam tension and anxiety. You need to avoid all of that. That said, we move to the next kind of question. Usually, I told us from the beginning, there are about 8 types of questions in reading. So now we have done 6, and for the number 7 and 8, we join them together, which is true, false, not given, or yes, no, not given. This seems to be the hardest for many people, but if you know what the logic is, it's easy. One of the mistakes people make is the fact that when they are supposed to write true, false, they'll write yes, no. So you need to be careful. You need to know what kind of question or what is expected of you. If it is a true, false, not given you have, let your answers be true, false, not given. If it is a yes, no you have, let your answers be yes, no, not given. Don't go and interchange them, and at the end of the day, you are failing your exam, because if the answer is yes and you write true from your examiner, I'll mark it wrong because it's not the answer. If the answer is no and you write false, I will mark you wrong because those two things, they don't even meet at any point at all. Okay, you need to be careful. The third thing you need to note about this kind of question is for you to avoid writing TFNG and then YNNG. Please write it in full. Write your answer in full. Except if the instruction tell you to write T for true, F for false, NG for not given. And I'm sure nobody will give you that kind of instruction. Don't follow textbooks that do that. Your examiners will mark you wrong big time. If you will go and write T, what is T? An alphabet. Is the alphabet the answer? So it is either true or false or not given, or yes or no or not given. Now, this true, false, not given question require you to identify if the information in a text is true, or it is false, or it is not given at all. You'll be given a number of factual statements for true, false, not given. There will be factual statements given to you, and then you are asked to check the text if these statements are true or not given. There's always a passage. There's already a story on ground. Okay, and the questions will come from that story on ground. It is now left to you to go and check the story you previously have, comparing with your question to say whether this part of my question that is asking me about this story that I have read, is it true, is it false, or is the information not there? So if the text agrees with what those statements are saying, then the answer is true. If it confirms it, then it is true. But if the text contradicts and is the opposite, or is the opposite of the statement, then it is false. If the information is not there, or it is impossible for you to know, then the answer is not given. I've always given us examples in this class when we were having the Zoom classes, and I'll tell you a story and then I'll ask you a question, and then you can write as the time goes on. Interaction. So just write your answer really and I'll find them. All right. So write true. It is for you to write false. It's for you to write not given. All right. The name of the IELTS tutor, the name of the current IELTS tutor for overseas nurses is Joy Agagwu. Joy is from Kogi State in Nigeria. She is a mother of 3 children, and she is a mother of 3 children and a registered nurse currently working in the United Kingdom. Now, your number 1 question is, Joy is from Anambra State, very close to Kogi State. Or I can reframe it this way. I'll say Joy is from a village between the borders of Anambra State, of Anambra and Kogi States. Joy is from a village, okay, at the border of Anambra and Kogi State. Is this true or false or not given? If you can type. Type whether it is true or false or not given. Question number 2 is, Joy is a mother of 2 boys and a girl. Is it true or false or not given? If you are typing number 1, write number 1, answer. Number 2, answer. Number 3, answer. Number 3 question is, Joy is working with the NHS in England. Is it true or false or not given? Okay, so let me do number 4 so that I can have more answers. Number 4, Joy is a maths teacher. That one is too open now. It's too clear. You will actually find some questions that the answers are like glaring, just like the one I did, my last question. Cool. So number 1, the answer is false. Joy is from Kogi State, not any border, not Anambra. So it contradicts the statement. Joy, cool. I can see many of us are getting it really, really correct. That's good. Okay. Now, number 2, the answer is not given. Why is it not given? Because there's no information about that in that story that you read. If you understand this logic and you are giving me this correct answer like this, then you should be able to pass through false not given and not see it as a difficult question. Because a lot of people see it as a difficult question, especially the not given option. Number 3, my answer is not given. I said 3 children. I didn't say the sex of the babies or of the children. I didn't mention whether there were 3 children, 2 boys and 2 girls, or 1 girl and 1 boy and whatever. There was no information. So when you don't have an information of that, or it is impossible for you to say, yes, it is true, Joy has 3 children, but it is impossible for you to say the sex of those children, then it is not given. Now, if number 4 as well, my number 4 is very glaring, that one is false. Thank you very much for participating. At least it shows that you understand what we are doing. The answer to number 4 is false. Number 1 is false. Number 2 is not given. Number 3 is not given. So if you have any answer other than that, then you will tell us where you got your own answers from. It's not to this question. Now, for some of you that know me, kids, you know the number of kids that I have and that Joy has, and but you have put aside your previous knowledge of Joy, okay, and you are working just based on the story that is here. In my previous classes, I have this example or that I use about the intramuscular injection. I use it a lot of times. In fact, for almost all the times that I've taught true false not given or a few of the other questions, I use intramuscular injection because I know that many of us have a good knowledge of intramuscular injection. If there is the administration of IM injection, if you are a health worker, if you are a nurse, a midwife, if you are a doctor or whatever that you are watching this and you are hoping to write the exam. So you have a knowledge of it. And the procedure is you have all the R's, all the right patient, the right drug, the right dosage, the right route, you know, and then all the rights that you know. Now, in a story, you will now get to know that there was no identification of this patient. They didn't say anything about identifying the patient. They just said that you withdraw, and then when you withdraw, that you just prime the needle and you give the injection. Nobody said anything about locating the site. Nobody said anything about you swabbing with alcohol swab. Nobody said anything about leaving the site to dry from the alcohol swab. Nobody said anything about you withdrawing to see whether it was in a vein or in an artery or you were in a blood vessel or something when you give when you push in before you push in your medication. Nobody said anything about using a dry swab to hold in place to stop bleeding or anything before you trash your sharp. Now you are a nurse and you know this thing very well. Then, for instance, you see it in an exam situation and they now say that you are supposed to clean the place. And meanwhile, in this story, there's nothing about it. But because you are a nurse and you know, you go and click yes because it's something that you know very well. My dear, you have failed that exam. You have failed that particular question. This is because you are not giving that information as per this context at this time. There is no information given to you about swabbing of the injection site with anything, whether alcohol swab or whatever. But you are making that choice because you know that you swab with alcohol swab. But we have said that you should ignore, trash every knowledge that you have, every previous knowledge about this topic. Work within the confines of the story that you have been given. All right, that is how to do this true, false, not given, and you will pass. We have done this little exercise that has engaged all of us in a way and has helped us to understand the logic behind true, false, not given. True, false, not given is all about factual statements. Okay, the statement, is it true or is it false? It's either there or not there. So if it is left, if they say it's the left side and somebody is mentioning that, you know that it is false because it is not that side. If it's something that you need to crack your brain on, then you should know that for sure it is not given. One thing you also need to know is that when you have the options before you, you have 5 questions and it's true, false, not given. In those 5 questions, all of these question types, the answers must appear. One of it will carry true, false, not true, another will carry false, another will carry not given. You must see all the options. In those 5, maybe one will appear twice, one will appear twice, the other will appear once, or one will appear once, the other will appear thrice, but that the 3 of them must be there. So when you have answered and you don't have the 3, you know that you have some wrong answers there or a wrong answer there. The 3 of them must appear there. Now, when you have yes, no, not given, okay, it is the same thing. They're asking you a question. Is it yes or no? It is either yes or no, or it is not given. It's the same thing, but the only thing you need to do is to identify whether your answer should be yes or no, not given, or true, false, not given. Okay? In yes, no, not given, true, false, not given, adjectives make a difference, a lot of difference. For instance, if a statement says Joy always takes hot drinks, in the mornings. And in your options, you are saying, Joy sometimes take hot drink in the morning. You will go and put yes because you have seen Joy, hot drink and all that. You have forgotten that always and sometimes those two adjectives have given a meaning to the hot drink. So it is either always or not always. It cannot be sometimes and you expect it to be correct. Those are some of the little things. You need to be factual. There's no room for assumption in your true, false, not given. If the statement is either true or it is false or it is not given, you can answer. All right? So there will be at least one of all three in all of your questions. When you that is not there, it's not complete, then your answers are not complete. Your answers are not entirely right. There's something you are not doing correctly. Okay? So this evening, we've been talking about reading, and we say that reading is a part of IELTS where you are going to have 40 questions to answer in 1 hour. And these 40 questions are divided into different sections. And the different sections are carrying different types of questions. And we have treated the 8 types of questions that you will find. If you didn't start this class with us, you do yourself a big favor if you go back and watch this video again so that you can get a knowledge of all of the question types. You need to practice. Go get materials. Practice. If you go to the Telegram group, there are materials that have been sent previously. If you check the media, you will find links to some materials that are there, and they will help you, okay, to practice. Download them time. Go to another question type. Go to another set of questions. Don't repeat the same question, number 1 to 40, you are repeating it 100 times. No, it's not going to help you. Because by way of your repetition, you will get used to these questions and you will start answering them even without seeing them. And then you say, oh, I know the answers now. I'm getting 38. I'm scoring 40. I'm going to register for IELTS. No. It means you were cramming. And remember that it's not that same question, that set of questions that you are going to see in your exam. So you need to expose yourself to different types of questions. And at the end of the day, you'll be able to write your exam and you will excel. Okay? If you have any questions, you can just ask in 1 minute before we close this class. There's a link here for our Telegram group. If you are not on the Telegram group, you need to join the Telegram group. There's a link already in the comment box. Just go ahead and join the Telegram group so that you can get all of those materials and begin to practice. Next week, by God's grace, we will be doing a different topic. We'll be doing a different one entirely, probably maybe writing or something, and we'll get to do this, and the video should be labeled with whatever class that is taught. Okay. In matching heading questions, do you use lines to connect? Do you use lines to connect the answers or alphabet to connect it? I really don't understand what you mean by lines to connect the answers. But in your booklet, in your answer booklet, I know that there's a place for writing. And the options are listed either as A, B, C, D, or 1, 2, 3, 4. Using lines to connect the answer, if is what I understand, is not allowed because you have to write in your answer sheet, isn't it? Your answer sheet is what they are going to carry and mark. They are not. Your examiner is not going to your question paper to be looking for your answers. That you crossed the lines, you went, you connected them. Please write out your answers in your answer booklet. All right, Edwina, I hope I've answered your question. Write out your answers in your booklet. All right, in your booklet, please don't connect. Write it out so that they can't say they did not see it. First time here, I'm really finding matching information really hard. Okay, if you go over what we've said again and you still have any confusion, you are free to contact us on the Telegram group if you want, or you go ahead on still under this video, because eventually we'll get the notification. You can tell me exactly what the problem is, but I'm sure that if you follow this tip tonight, you should find it easier. Okay, you should find it easier. Do they paraphrase the answers in summary completion? That is the essence of summary. They paraphrase using synonyms. And so you too should be on the lookout for these synonyms so that you can get the correct number of words in your writing. For some of the summary completion type of question where they will give you the words to fill in the gap with, I think it's easier when you have words because you're not going to make mistakes with these words anymore. Okay, so when you have words, they would have paraphrased it already. It's you that will now know that this word is the paraphrase for this one. That one is the paraphrase, is the synonym for that one, and you find out that your sentence at the end where you're reading it is a paraphrase from the main text, and then that's why you have the summary. A summary is usually a paraphrase of a main passage. Okay, is a paraphrase of a main passage where they pick information and very important information, make it shorter and brief, and then write it. So yes, they use paraphrases, they use synonyms. All right, Lillian, I hope that answered your question. Any more questions? No more questions. All right, so in the absence of any other question, I'll bring this class to an end tonight. We have been dealing with academic reading, and if you still have issues after this and you have watched again and you try to apply the tips that you've got here tonight and you still don't find it easy and you're really practicing, please contact on the Telegram group and we will get to take it off from there. But I'm sure a lot of people just watch the videos and they go ahead to write their exams and they pass. We have had stories of people who have never even been in the main class, as in the Zoom classes, because they don't have time, but go back to watch. They've gone back to watch the videos and they are able to pass. They were able to pass their exams. Now, this video is just an addition to what we have on ground already on this same channel. If you check, there are other reading sessions that we have done and they are there. We have treated all of this over and over. So if you go back there, you are able to watch them. You may learn one or two things from each of these videos. All right. Your examples. Really, if you have got the logic, then you will find out that the examples are actually easy. That's how I say it. I have difficulty with interpreting maps, especially when it is transformed into writing. Unfortunately, this is not writing. This is not writing. There's a writing class that has treated map in-depthly. We have gone, I know that I've treated map in one of the classes. There are examples. Please go back and check for which one is on maps and watch it. That's writing tax 1. Okay, but if you have map as your labeling of a diagram, which I'm not sure that you will find, you won't find a map per se in labeling of a diagram. You won't find map. So map is actually in writing tax 1, and if you check this channel, you will find out that there's a class, or there are classes in writing tax 1 where we have treated map. So do yourself a favor, dear, and go back there to read it, so that actually go back to watch it and practice and let us know if you have improved on the Telegram group. Okay, all right, is there any question that I have not answered? I don't think there's a question I have not treated here. I'm not so sure. Any more questions? No questions. So the class is coming to an end for tonight. Yes, the link for the Telegram is here. You can join the Telegram, and if you have further questions, you can always come back when you watch this. If you are watching this and you did not participate while it was going on live and you still have your own questions to ask, please go to the comment box and ask your question and we will get to see it. Other than that, in the presence of any other question, I will say good night to you. Have a great evening. Keep practicing and you will excel at the end of the day. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.